That line landed like a thunderclap. Gasps turned to applause, building steadily. Ivanka's jaw tightened imperceptibly. She waited for the noise to subside before responding. "I'm not here to dwell on the past," she said, her voice firmer. "I'm here to discuss the kind of leadership people are tired of, the same old approaches that haven't worked." Obama leaned forward, elbows on his knees, his presence commanding without effort. "Leadership, huh?" he said with a faint smile. "I agree. People are tired. Tired of drama, finger-pointing, and mistaking attention for real impact." The crowd hummed in agreement, the applause swelling again. He paused, his tone softening as he recalled the past. "When your father first questioned my birthplace, I understood it. It wasn't about truth, it was about headlines. And it worked, for a while." Obama glanced away briefly, as if pulling from memory, then locked eyes with her. "But this isn't about him. It's about you. You asked a personal question, so let me respond personally. I didn't rise because of rumors. I rose because truth is resilient." The applause erupted louder, some audience members standing. Ivanka smiled tightly, her ease fracturing. The moderator interjected nervously, "Let's pivot to economic leadership." But Ivanka wasn't ready to yield. "With all due respect, Mr. Obama, sometimes people just want straight answers. You talk about truth, but there's a difference between truth and politics." Obama regarded her for a long moment, then smiled wider. "You're right. I conceded. And that's why I'm here giving them. The truth doesn't need to shout, Ivanka. It just needs to be consistent." The crowd clapped with conviction, a few whistles piercing the air. For the first time, frustration flickered across Ivanka's face. Obama, sensing the shift, delved deeper, his voice reflective. "I know what it's like to be misunderstood. When your father questioned me, it hurt. Not just me, but my family. It made people doubt what shouldn't be doubted. But I learned. Every lie thrown at you is a chance to stand taller with truth. That's leadership. Not fire with fire, but with light." The applause thundered, echoing off the walls. Ivanka nodded politely, but the moment belonged to Obama. The moderator tried again to redirect, but the audience's focus remained riveted. Whispers buzzed. Did she really go there? He's handling it masterfully. The tension built, a quiet storm brewing. Ivanka sat tall, her posture impeccable, but her eyes betrayed a subtle unease. Obama, ever the strategist, let the silence work for him. Then softly, he posed his counter. "Ivanka, you asked about truth. Let me ask you one. Who is Barron's mom?" The question hung like a bombshell. Ivanka froze, her eyes widening fractionally. The audience inhaled sharply, cameras zooming in. It was a simple query, but loaded, echoing back rumors and awkward family dynamics from the Trump era. Ivanka laughed lightly, trying to deflect. "Excuse me, that's not relevant." Obama didn't flinch. "Maybe not, but if we're demanding transparency, let's be consistent." Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Ivanka's composure cracked further. "This is off topic," she said, her voice rising slightly. Obama tilted his head sympathetically. "You're right. But before we move on, let's clarify. Questioning identity to score points isn't leadership. It's weakness masquerading as courage." The words sliced through the tension. Applause exploded, unrestrained. Obama raised a hand to quiet them. "I've dealt with rumors as weapons. Leadership rises above them, with respect and facts." Ivanka tapped her microphone, stalling. "That was below the belt." Obama shook his head. "No, what's below the belt is using someone's existence to win an argument." Another wave of applause drowned the room. As it faded, Obama softened. "Maybe next time before questioning stories, ensure yours can withstand scrutiny, too." The moderator cleared his throat. "All right, let's move to economics." But the shift was palpable. Ivanka seemed distant, her thoughts racing. Obama appeared serene, having flipped the script with grace. The air, once heavy, now carried a thoughtful calm. Obama spoke again, unprompted, his tone gentle. "When I stepped on this stage, I expected talks on education, the economy, the real issues, but we veered into the past, dividing instead of uniting. Murmurs of agreement spread. That's politics today, treating truth like a battlefield. He turned to Ivanka kindly. I don't blame you. You grew up in that world. Your father mastered attention, but attention isn't respect. The room silenced. He said things about you that blurred lines, family, power, principle. When leaders do that, faith erodes. Quiet claps grew louder. Obama continued, we've all played games, but truth builds nations. Politics has become a show, winning scenes over fixing stories. The danger is losing real voices in the noise. Looking at Ivanka, he added, I'm not here to embarrass. Power means nothing without honesty. We can argue beliefs. That's democracy. But questioning humanity makes us performers, not leaders. The world needs adults. The line resonated. Applause swelled. I've met your father. We disagreed on everything. He understands the game, but I chose not to let it define me. To Ivanka, you're smart, strong. What will you use your voice for? Echoing noise or creating understanding? The audience froze in admiration. Obama concluded, leadership isn't being right, it's being real. Thunderous applause followed, people standing. Ivanka nodded faintly, reflective. Obama shook her hand as he exited, calm and unbothered. The event ended, but the lesson lingered. Truth, steady and patient, triumphs without force.
The lights in the Washington conference hall shimmered like 1,000 tiny stars trapped in glass, casting a warm glow over the polished stage. It was one of those grand venues where history felt like it could unfold at any moment. High ceilings, velvet curtains, and rows upon rows of seats filled with a mix of politicians, journalists, entrepreneurs, and carefully selected guests. The air hummed with anticipation, a low buzz of whispered conversations and the occasional rustle of programs. Banners draped across the walls proclaimed the event's theme in bold, elegant letters: Building the Future, Leadership and Unity in Modern America. On paper, it sounded noble, almost poetic, a chance for two influential figures to discuss the path forward in a divided nation. But as the evening unfolded, it became clear that this wasn't just a stage for polite discourse. It was a test of character, a battlefield disguised as a conversation. No one could have predicted the fireworks. Barack Obama and Ivanka Trump had never shared a platform like this before. The former president, with his legacy of eloquence and composure, represented one era of American politics. Ivanka, the poised businesswoman and advisor to her father, embodied another. Bold, unapologetic, and tied to the Trump brand of disruption. The nation was glued to their screens, live streams buzzing across social media. Would it be cordial? Confrontational? The host, a seasoned moderator with a voice like smooth gravel, stepped up to the microphone first. Tonight, he announced, his words echoing through the hall, we explore what leadership means in an era of division and change. The applause was measured, restrained, as if the audience was holding back, sensing something bigger on the horizon. Ivanka Trump emerged from the wings first, her entrance as flawless as a runway walk. She wore a tailored white suit that caught the light perfectly, her blonde hair cascading in soft waves. Her smile was practiced, the kind that disarmed rooms. Confident without being arrogant, warm without being overly familiar. She waved subtly to the crowd, her movements graceful, and took her seat on one side of the stage. The applause for her was polite, a smattering of claps from supporters mixed with curious murmurs from the rest. Moments later, Barack Obama followed. His stride was unhurried, relaxed, like a man who had nothing to prove. Dressed in a sharp navy suit, he offered that signature half smile, the one that said, I've navigated storms before. The crowd's response swelled, louder and more enthusiastic, a wave of respect rolling through the hall. They shook hands at center stage, the flash of cameras turning the moment into a frozen snapshot. It lingered just a beat longer than necessary, enough to feel symbolic. Polite words were exchanged, inaudible to most, but the smiles were there. Then they sat, separated by a small table and the invisible weight of their histories. The moderator eased in with softball questions: leadership styles, the rigors of public life, what it takes to inspire in turbulent times. Obama spoke of empathy, the slow grind of patience, and the importance of listening. His voice was a steady rhythm, drawing nods from the audience. Ivanka countered with innovation, courage, and breaking molds. It all felt professional, scripted even, two adults in a room full of watchers playing their parts. But as the discussion deepened, the undercurrent shifted. Obama, in his thoughtful baritone, pivoted to the foundation of any great nation: truth. "We can't build trust without it," he said, his eyes scanning the room. "Right now, America's biggest challenge isn't just the economy or policy, it's believing in what's real amidst all the noise." The applause was soft, appreciative. Ivanka sat motionless, her expression neutral, but something flickered in her eyes. She leaned forward, her breath brushing the microphone. When she spoke, her voice was steady, edged with a sharpness that cut through the air. "Mr. Obama, how can you talk about truth when there are still questions about where you were even born?" The hall fell into a stunned silence, as if the oxygen had been sucked out in an instant. Gasps rippled through the crowd, eyes darted between the two figures on stage. This wasn't a policy jab. It was personal, dredging up the long-debunked birther conspiracy that had haunted Obama during his presidency. The moderator's smile evaporated, his face paling under the lights. Obama paused, not in fear, but in genuine surprise. His hands remained folded in his lap, his posture unchanged. The audience held its collective breath, the only sound the faint hum of the stage lights. For what felt like an eternity, no one moved. Then Obama chuckled softly, not in amusement, but in a quiet acknowledgement of the absurdity. "Ivanka," he began, his voice calm and measured, "that story's been around for a long time, and it's been proven wrong for just as long." He let the words settle, his gaze steady on her. "But maybe the real question isn't where I was born. Maybe it's why some people still need to cling to something that's not true." The crowd stirred, a few claps breaking the tension, growing into a murmur of approval. Obama wasn't lashing out. He was dissecting, precise as a surgeon. "We're here to talk about the future, not to resurrect old lies from the past." Ivanka didn't avert her eyes. She crossed her arms, her face a mask of composure, but the room's energy had transformed. The polite facade cracked, revealing the raw underbelly of political theater. Whispers spread like wildfire in the audience, journalists scribbling furiously, guests exchanging wide-eyed glances. The moderator, sensing the derailment, tried to steer back. "Let's return to leadership strategies," but it was too late. The spark had ignited, and the conversation was no longer about unity. It was a clash of generations, ideologies, and truths. The air grew heavier, thick with unspoken challenges. Obama leaned back slightly, his half-smile returning, but his eyes sharpened. Ivanka, undeterred, pressed on. "Mr. President, I didn't mean to offend," she said, her tone calculated. "But leadership requires transparency, doesn't it? The people deserve to know who their leaders really are." It was a clever pivot, framing her attack as a call for honesty. The audience murmured, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. Obama nodded slowly, acknowledging the point without conceding ground. "You're right about transparency," he replied. "That's why I released my birth certificate years ago for the whole world to see. But even after the facts were out, the rumors persisted. Why? Because sometimes it's easier to believe a lie that fits your narrative than a truth that disrupts it."